In this video, we're not going to be using Canva when we're talking about creating awesome activity books for free, but we are going to be looking at Amazon first to get an idea of what we're going to be creating, and we're going to take a look at Trace and Color book for kids. Scroll down, you're going to see lots of different options here for Trace and Color sea creatures, unicorns, animals for kids, also learning to trace, more of an educational style book. More results bring in additional niches. In this case, you can see Trace Shapes workbooks, Color and Trace, the letters of the alphabet. And then we get into actually handwriting practice. And the book that I'm really interested in as an example is this one right here, because it's independently published and it was published in 2020. This is 2022 as I'm shooting this video. It's 106 pages and it's doing really well. When you take a look inside this book, you can see that they've gone to great detail to make this a very educational style book where they're walking through the different levels of how to actually do letter tracing and how letter tracing is a practice or a handwriting practice to learn how to do handwriting, to learn how to actually write for kids. So the idea here is you can go through and you can create this level of book, but how can you create this type of book and how can you do it for free to including everything that you see here? Well, minus the images. You might be able to do those, but the images aren't really what I'm focused on here. What I'm focused on is the idea of A is for ant, and then the actual lines, sort of like a notebook with the letters that you can actually trace. So we're not going to be using Canva, we're actually going to be using Google Docs, and inside of Google Docs we're going to be using what is called Google Slides. We're going to come to Google Slides and we're going to start a new presentation. And we're simply going to come here and we're going to go File, Page Setup, and we're going to go to Custom. And in this case, for a workbook of this style and publishing on KDP, 8.5 by 11, click Apply, close this themes, get rid of these boxes, title and subtitle boxes, and we're simply going to go to work. In this case, we got to have an idea of what we want here. And what we want to start off with is something very simple. In this case, we're going to need a line, and we're just going to draw a line across here. And then at that point, we're going to let that line be right there. And then we're going to change the thickness of that line to be what we want it to be. And then we're just going to simply copy and paste that line. And then we're going to drag that line down. And at this point, we're not worried about the formatting, the size, the spacing. We're just getting to know the tool. And again, we need another line. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to paste in that line. I hit Command or Control V. And in this case, we're going to change the line to a dashed line that you can see right there. And now we have our writing line or our notebook line where we're going to place our letter. And then at that point, we're going to need a text box. So then we're going to grab a text box and we're going to add a text box and we're going to add the letter A. Then we're going to highlight that A. And then of course, at that point, you're simply just using this just like PowerPoint. It's just online and you can use it for free. And we're going to make that as big or as small as we need it. Then we're going to make this text box a nice little square. And then we're simply going to drag that down. And now you can see that we are creating that same style of book that we just saw. Again, just hit this and edit it and bring it up to the size that you need. For example, if it needs to be a little bigger. And then at that point, you're just getting a feel for the tool, and then you're going to adjust as needed or as necessary. Of course, when you go back to the book and you look inside, you can see that they've added arrows and numbers. All that is readily available, as well as the lowercase letters. You would simply just come here, click this, Command C, Command V, or Control C, Control V if you're on a Windows box, and then simply just change that to a lowercase a. And of course, all these are going to change with the different types of fonts. And you have all these different types of fonts here available, to include the one that I'm going to use to make a trace image, which is railway dots. And then I'm simply going to zoom this in so you can see exactly what I've created there. I went to 200%, and now you can see that I have a trace image right there, and that is how we're starting with that. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to zoom back out, or I'm going to fit that back in. And then I'm going to get a little creative here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert, and I'm going to insert a shape. And with the shape, I'm going to go ahead and insert this rounded rectangle. And the reason I'm doing that is just to show you how to move forward with this, how to do it fast, how to do it quick, how to get a feel for the tool. Again, this is all free here inside of Google Docs, inside of Google Slides. And at this point, you're simply coming and you are changing the border color here. We're going to change it from that gray to a black. We're also going to play around with the border thickness. And you can also see now that we can actually fill this with white, and it is basically transparent against the white background. And then also we can change this, and we can do the same thing we did. We can change that to a dot, and now we have a little bit of something unique right there. And then again, all we have to do is select this box right here. Select that box, copy and paste it, and then move our A up inside of here. And it starts with the letter that we're going to start with. Then of course you would change that back to whatever you're looking for. For example, it could be Comic Sans, if that makes sense. Again, this is what you're doing. You're taking a look inside this very popular book, and you are not copying anything that they've done. You're just using it for inspiration. You're going back to Amazon, trace and color books for kids, and you're looking at the different types of tracing books, the different styles, the different reasons for creating these books, whether it's a pure educational book or whether it's just a book to have fun, learning shapes and other things, or even niche down into things that you see here like Jesus Loves Me, affirmations for kids. All these are things that you can create here inside of Google Docs, inside of Google Slides. And you can do this for free. Another thing to take note of is the number of pages. You can see here that I've created well over 100 pages here in Google Slides, whereas inside of Canva, there's a limit of 100 pages. So you can see how simple and quick that is to get started. And then of course, once you get started and you start playing around with this and you realize the things you can do, you can create a manuscript like I've created here. This is an interior that is ready to go for trace and color, the capital letters from A to Z. It's fully editable again here inside of Google Docs, and it is all the alphabet, all 26 letters, and it's doubled up on the pages as you can see here. First trace the letter inside the box, also color the letter. Here is a nice letter or a font that's been selected where you can color the letter, as well as the second page again is color the letter, and then the lines for them to actually practice in what looks like a notebook so they can get used to writing inside of a notebook and start practicing their penmanship or their handwriting. And again, back over at Amazon, there's all different styles here, and you can take what's been created inside of Google Docs and you can just simply modify that very simply because it is a free online editor, and you can do all the things that we just talked about to include changing the font. You can even come here and insert images. If you have them, you can insert an image, and then you could put this alligator chomping on the A right here inside of this workbook, taking the place of the letter and making this even more unique. Again, you can see I've created all of the letters from A down to X, Y, and Z. And if you would like to get a copy of this to use as your own, there is a link in the description. It will take you over to this page. You can grab your copy of Trace and Color Activity Pages that's ready to edit and sell as your own product. It also comes with a set of 26 letters, the entire alphabet with some coloring images like the one that I displayed in this video, and you can check that out by clicking the link in the description, and it'll take you over to this page and you can pick that up, and this will allow you to get started even faster. If this video was helpful, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget, link in the description. Check out this. I've done all the heavy lifting for you. Get started quick, and then come back here to the comments and let me know what you've created and how your book is doing. And with that, I'll talk to you later. Bye.